What's cracking, what it do, mi gente? This your boy D once again, ready to come by to show some love and a little bit of knowledge. And today, the knowledge has something to do with 23 MS13 in the Bay Area. We're gonna talk about this infamous clique. And why I say this infamous clique, the reason why I say that is because a lot of people, when they hear MS13, they always think of LA. They always think LA. They don't think about up north organizations, the cliques that were down here. So we're gonna go ahead and give you guys a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of love. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys can give a thumbs up, thumbs down if you guys don't like it. It's all good. You guys can share it, subscribe to it if you haven't to it, and more important than all, leave a comment. Let me know if you like it, you dislike it, you want to know about it, or what's going on. Today, I'm gonna talk about the beginnings of my years, my early years in the neighborhood. When I started, how I became, and why I got so involved and so invested in this neighborhood that I thought it was gonna repay me back. It was gonna pay me back with the same love that I was given, the same loyalty I was showing, everything within between, basically. But it goes to show, and it goes without saying, to say that the hood doesn't love you at all, especially when you're doing time, and especially when you come home, you ain't got nothing to show for. With that being said, let's get into this topic, man. Some of you guys might not know, and I think I haven't said this, but like I said, my early beginnings, I started in El Salvador. I didn't start in El Salvador, but I knew what gangs was coming from the motherland. Simple fact, I had cousins from MS. I had uncles that were founders of the whole MS as a whole, the whole organization, when they used to be stoners. And I had uncles that were MS founders for the 20th Street Clique as well, right? With that said, the knowledge of my game banging, I had a little bit of deeper knowledge, and I had a leg up, an advantage, because I knew where we were coming from, the roots, and how I started, and why we started, and what we were fighting. I knew the reason why we were fighting the enemy. I knew the reason why we were in problems or in beef with the neighborhoods. So I knew I was knowledgeable enough to say I was game banging for a reason, even though the reasons nowadays are senseless, point blank stupid, and sometimes they can even be called idiotic. But back then, I didn't look at it like that. So I started at an early age. Like I said, my uncle used to be a stoner. They were a stoner, the first wave of MS. Some of my family members were guerrilleros. They were from the Guerilla Warfare. And some of them were actually soldados, members of the army, the Republic of El Salvador Army. They did a lot of time. A lot of them did tours in Iraq when Presidente Flores sent a lot of Salvadorans to fight for the United States of America, when we made the deal of exchanging basically colon for dollars, the money, the coin that was nationality of El Salvador was colon. But after we made that deal with the United States, we began to start to use the dollar. So President Flores had to do with that, okay? So a lot of the homeboys that came to LA, they came to LA because they saw what was going on in our motherland, their views, the discontent, the disposable land, people stealing and taking people's land. So they established the guerrilla warfare. Some of my family took part of those warfares, and I saw the end of them, the war, and I could tell you they were horrible times. But we learned how to live with it. And as a kid, like I had said before, it was 4 of us, it was 4 boys. We learned how to make the best out of nothing. Even if we only had tortillas with a little bit of salt, then that's what we will eat. We'll make the best out of nothing. When I came to the United States, I came to this country with a dream of becoming something better. My mind was never like, I'm going to be the biggest gang member. I haven't seen the knowledge. No, my main come here. Maybe here I can have an opportunity, because my dream has always been to be a soccer player. So I was like, maybe here I can have an opportunity to thrive and try it out to see if I can accomplish my dream. Obviously, it didn't play it out that way. I got into gangs at an early age. I was 12, 13 when I first started hanging out with the homeboys. And the reason why I'm going to say it straight up, sometimes it was because out of anger, I wanted revenge for the people that were bullies. They used to bully us. They used to mock us because of our accent, how we talk, how we dress. We weren't rich here in the United States, but we weren't poor either. So we would dress simple. Because to us, having a pair of Adidas or a pair of Pumas was better than having nothing. So you see, I come from the suburb where we used to wear our Sunday best to parties, to funerals, to things like that. It was only one pair of pants, and we had, our father was here in the United States in Texas, but he only sent a little bit of money for 4 boys, and my mother had to work 2 jobs, like I had said before in previous videos. So it wasn't like we were flooded with money, but we had our own house, so we didn't have to worry about getting evicted or getting kicked out. Now coming here was a whole different ball game. We had to be responsible, and like I said before, with $10, you used to go to school with $10. You will make it to the week, because I used to make it last with $10. And eventually, when I started going to middle school, those $10 became $20. So I felt like I had money. For a kid that never had $20 every week, it was like, man, you doing it, you know. And at an early age, my mother also installed the work ethic. She always used to tell us, if you want something in life, you have to work for it. If you want to become better, you have to work for it. So that work ethic, guys, stole on us very early at a young age. So when I was here and I had the opportunity to make a hustle, to make a buck, I would take advantage of it. One of my cousins was married to her husband, and he had his own company of construction. So when they used to come, I remember they were finisher, concrete men. So when they used to come, sometimes they wouldn't wash the float where you washing all the brooms. So they would pay me 40, $50 to wash all the floats and the brooms. And to me, that was money. So I would do it. So I would save up as much money as I could just whenever I want to buy something for myself. But I know that the money costs. Because see, when you don't earn something, you don't look at it like, oh, I earned it. I know how much I sacrificed for it. I'm just going to mess it up. I was the type of kid that my mom used to buy me a pair of shoes when I was here. And the next day I would take them to school and I would play soccer with them. That's the type of kid I was. She bought me a pair of pants. I would play soccer with them, rip them and everything, and would just throw them away. I started taking things for granted until she put a stop to it. My mother was basically the lawman. My mother was the toughest out of all. She was like, no, for now on, you're going to have to work for everything you want and you can have, because you think everything is for free. So I learned at an early age that I had to make sacrifice in order for me to have the things that I want in life. If I wanted a pair of Jordans like other kids had, I had to literally work hard enough to save up enough money to get the pair of Jordans. Mind you, back then in 2002, 2003, those Jordans were expensive to us. $200 pair of Jordans, man, that was a lot of money. I didn't want to spend $200 for a pair of Jordans, so I would just go to get me a pair of sneakers, a pair of a Skechers, and be happy with it, or a pair of Pumas and be happy with it. Or I would go to Goodwill and buy me a pair of good shoes. The centers would sell them there and be happy with it. So that was my whole thing. Then I started hanging out with the homeboys. I got into the dope selling, and it became fast money for me. And I was young, so the police didn't really actually look for us most of the time. I used to hold the dope when they was about to sell. They would just point it to me. I would give it. They would cash the money, so it would be split 50-50 between me and the homeboy that were doing the deals. But to us, it was fast money. But since he was born here, he had a different outlook in life. The easy the money comes to him, the easy he will get rid of it. To me, it was a little bit more different. I was always thinking of tomorrow. So if we made $400 within a week, I would save up all those $400 within a week and only take like maybe $50 out of the week just in case I can have pocket change, in case I want to eat me a burrito, buy me a beer, smoke me a cigarette, whatever, we'll half and half with the homie in a cigarette box or whatnot. So I wasn't flashy like all these other youngsters that were selling dope. I would see youngsters selling dope and then flashy brand new Jordans. Back then it used to be Shan John's pants, Sapporo, Fubu, all the stuff that were on time. That were the new trend, basically. I would see them buying it. I wasn't the type of dude. I would go to the little Arabic foods, get like 4 t-shirts for $10 to $20, use one every single day. Because that's one thing I did have. I was clean. I was never a dirtbag. I was never dirty. I wasn't one of those kids that will always have his white shirt all dirty or looking musty. I wasn't like that. That's one thing about me that I always pride myself into, being clean. Because appearances always make the first impression, and you always want to look good. So when I would be selling dope, I always had a fresh new pair of pants. Even if the shirt was only $4 or $5 and it was just a liquor store $5 shirt tee, I will make it look fly, because I will try to make it look fly. And then I had my shoes that I will go out with. So I had the pair of Jordan Air Forces, one, the low ones, the white ones, and I had the black ones, high tops. So those were my shoes, like to go out, to go party. Then I have my worker shoes. Of course, I have my worker shoes, so skaters shoes, either sneak or like just regular shoes that will last me a long time, going back and forward up down the block selling dope. Because I didn't want to wear my Air Forces. One, because your feet will sweat and it will start to get smelled. Two, you getting raggedy all the time. Somebody can spill a bit, and then the white shoes always go out. So I started getting into the game. I started kicking it with the homies. I started going around with the homies. Yeah, some people always used to say, oh, you got a leg up because of who your family was. I never used my family's name or my uncle's reputation to get a leg up or to get further into the neighborhood. I never did that. And that's one thing I could pride myself back then, saying that everything in my name that ring the streets and the way I got it was because I did it on my own. I didn't use my uncle's name. I didn't put little so-and-so. I didn't put young so-and-so. I didn't put none of that. I got my own name. I got baptized with my own name, and I made it ring. I made it what it is now. Because I didn't want to always depend on my uncle. What about if my uncle would have been in bad standings? Then because I have his name plus little, then it was going to be judgy. So I chose to become my own legacy, to build my own phenomenon, basically, my own dilemma, my own me, the gangsta version of me. So that's why I did it. So when I started coming to the hood, I used to sell dope. That was me. I like money. Of course, with that comes the territorial gang banging as well. We used to kick it in the corner, gang bang, and do all the type of things. And I always used to be the shortest out of all of them and the youngest out of all of them. So you will always see me with between. For some reason, I was attached to a lot of older homeboys. The knowledge they had, the way they carry themselves, and the way they will act, it will attract me to them, because I felt like if I hang out with people my age, I already see how the young homies my age were, all loud, game banging, all doing all loud shit, and all boo boo boo. So I like the quiet individuals. I like those dudes that only be sit, watch, observe, acknowledge, analyze, and then get things done. So I was kept more to the older homies because of the demeanor and the way they will get down. So you will see me all the time between a lot of older homies. But in between, I was always the youngest one. And because sometimes when the police would pull up, they wouldn't care about the little kid. I probably would be holding the homie's pistol. The police would put them all hands up, do all that frisky shit, and I would just skate off. I would just keep on walking. As soon as I see the narcs or the hooters, I would keep on walking like it was regular. Have my backpack on with the burners on and everything. But it never drew that attention because I wasn't loudmouth like the older little homies. The older little homies used to get stopped because it would be 4 or 5 of them and they'll be loud as hell. I wasn't like that, man. I was schooled differently. And a lot of homies took a liking to me because they used to be like, oh, you have that kickback still, the laid back, the humble style. Keep doing that, you're going to get to places. So that always, when my homeboy Psycho told me that, when my homeboy Peloncito told me that, those things got stuck to me. Because due to the fact that I would see how my older little homies from my generation were act up all loud, hollering at a little girl, like, what's up, little mama? Oh, fuck you then, bitch. If she didn't answer, it was fuck you, hoe. That wasn't me. I was more there for the money. I wanted to have my own car. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to have my own little apartment. I wanted to live on my own. I didn't want to hear my mom saying, "Oh, you got to be here by 9 o'clock. You got to be here by 10." I wanted my own stuff. I wanted to be my own man. So I worked hard towards those things because of that. And I always, like, if my uncle would hit me up, "Hey, we just did our jobs. The floats or the brooms are dirty. What's up? You want to pull up? I give you $100 if you wash them all." I will go. The hoses, the concrete hoses, the big black ones, heavy ones. Take out the little metal pieces where you add on, and the only part hose, take them out, wash them, make sure they're not concrete get stuck there so they don't get rusted. I would do that. I was a hustler. I didn't care. Then my mom started selling pupusas and started selling in a soccer course every Sunday. I would go with her. I didn't give a shit. I would go with her. You know why? Because at the end of the day, when she would start counting up her money, I know I had either $150 or $100 coming from her for all the help that I did. Because I would be the cashierman. I would be the one that was charging. So my book smarts, I'm always been that. I'm always been good with numbers because of that. You cannot play me out of 50 cents. You cannot play me out of 20 cents. I don't care if it's 2 cents, bro. And you short 2 cents, I'm gonna let you know you short 2 cents. That was the type of individual I was. So when I got into the hood at 13, of course, I was 13 when I got jumped in. They didn't put homies my generation to beat me up. They didn't put little homies to me, man. They put older homeboys, second generation older homeboys, man. At that time, they had just opened the books to start up a second generation for 20 Strict League. Second to third generation, basically. And I happened to be the baby of the books, and I closed the books of second generation. So that title always had belonged to me. I was the baby of the 20th Street, and I always fought for it. Every new homie that were coming back then, you got to fight the homie. Come on, let's get it. So I was always a scrapper. I was always a fighter. I didn't win them all. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and make myself look better than I'm not, but I didn't win them all. But guess what? I was straight. I didn't give a fuck if whoever would come through. It was a 27-year-old homie that was trying to get jumped into the clique. Let's get it. Let's rumble. I didn't care if you drop me. I don't care if you bust my lip. Let's go. Let's bust it. And it won't be just one beat. We won't run it just once, bro. It's not gonna happen. Every time I come to the hood and I see you and you talking about all this, let's run it. That's the type of individual I was, and the homeboys love that about me. I was never a coward like that. I've never been a coward, even though I could lose a fight, and I lost many fights. But I will always get up. If you drop me, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna get up. Drop me again, I'm gonna bounce right back and keep swinging. Even there used to be times where the homies would be like, "Fool, ya estuvo." I said, "Oh, nah, fuck that, homie, let's go." I'm not happy. That fool just dropped you 3 times. I don't give a fuck. Fuck it, let's go. There was always things like that. So that's why I used to have an animosity towards some homies. Goofy used to be one of them. Rat ass Goofy. He became a rat later on down the line. Because I saw him that he was just nothing but a brag, and just because of who his uncle was, who his uncles were, he felt like he had that coming. And he was a big boy, don't get me wrong. For his age, he was a big boy. He was heavy, he was heavy set, and he was a big boy, taller than me, of course. But I didn't give a shit. Well, every time we see him, we scrape with that fool. Every time I see him, we used to scrape. I didn't like him whatsoever. And there was a lot of reasons that play into why I didn't like him. Because he was always bragging. He was always thinking he was the shit. And he was driving at that time. So he used to have like a 99 Nissan, I think. But he had a real well do. But the flossing around, the yelling, all that stuff, that wasn't my style. And I never liked that. So every time we had a chance, we used to scrape. It got to the point where the homies they wouldn't even put us in the same block when we'd be selling. That he would be in another block and I'd be up the block, because the animosity was so vicious. I saw something in him that I like. And like a lot of people say, you can see the bitch in somebody. I saw the hole in him. And that's exactly when that happened. At the end, he ended up telling. But when I got jumped to the hood, 3 older homies put it down. And the funny part, and you can ask my homeboys about this, people that are still down, 3 of my homeboys, they couldn't drop me. For some reason, they couldn't drop me. It got to the 13, the 15 second, and they couldn't drop me. They could not drop me. I kept bouncing back and up. Even if I would jump right into another punch leg that would lay me out, I would not let my body get weak. For some reason, I had like an anger in me, like a fire in me. I was like, this wasn't not gonna drop me until I felt like it. So when it came to 16, because I got jumped in 20 seconds, I didn't get a 13. I got the 20 seconds in. So by the time it was 15, 16, the homos were like, what the is going on with this dude? He will not drop. Well, by the time that second start coming out or 16 start coming out, I start feeling the punches. I was really tired because the count they gave me wasn't a slow count. They gave me all hit count. Though every time they would count, it would be separated so far out that I felt like I was getting drowned in every punch. Like every punch was just a big old hammer, just hammering inside of my face. So by the time they dropped me out, when 17 came around, one of my older homeboys caught me with a right hand because I was jumping up and like wiggling, waggling. So I was jumping up and down, up and down, just moving around. I jumped right into his right hand. Right into his right hand. He put it right into my chin. And between my chin and my temple, put me down. Set my ass down. And when I fall down, I try to get up, but they jump right into me. And then you got to remember, MS doesn't have the policy a lot of Sureños neighborhoods have that they don't kick homies when they're jumping homies. For MS, everything goes. Kicks, punches, everything goes because that's just the rule that we have because it's like you never know when the enemy is going to catch you and then it's going to start punching you. So for us, everything goes. So when I felt the punch right next to my ribs, that dude had like steel boots on it because he was coming back from work and I was like, you son of a motherfucking gun. He took the whole breath out of me, man. I'm not gonna lie. He took the breath out of me. I felt like he had took the life out of me. I tried to turn around and then the other fool kicked the fuck out of me right by my head, in the back of my head. So I tried to get up somehow so I could, but I couldn't jump back. My wrists were on fire. So finally, when the 22nd came around, they picked me up, they hugged me, welcome to the hood type of shit, all of that good stuff. I told the homies, like, fool, why the fuck we wouldn't go down, fool? I was like, I don't know, shit. I didn't know I was supposed to go down. They were like, yeah, fucker, but you weren't supposed to, like, stay on your feet that long. I was like, why not? They were like, it's just like, you just made it worse, fool. Like, we had to keep punching you hella hard, so that way we could try to drop you. Well, when they did drop me, I was beat up. I'm not gonna lie. I had my lip busted. I was bleeding from my nose. My ribs were busted. And like they weren't broke, but they were a little bit fractured. I could feel it. Like I could feel like I thought they were broke, but they weren't. Cause I went, and for like 2 days I pieced nothing but blood. Believe me, I was piecing blood, and I was like, man, these dudes fucked me up. But that was the hood back then. Like, you couldn't break a homie, you were making a homie. So, at least that's how stupid I saw that. That's how dumb I saw that. That thing to me was like, oh, they made a soldier. On my mind was like, I'm a soldado of MS13 now. That this is what it is. This is the highest honor I could get. That was my way of thinking. That was my thinking. Even though years down the road, I thought about it, and to this day, I think about it. It's nothing worth it that I've been through. All these shoe terms, all these bull bobs. I never been disciplined in prison, and that's one thing I do appreciate it for the homies, that I never got to the point where I had to get bull bob disciplined by homies. Not even on the streets. I almost did in the street once because of an incident that took place between me and Tigre, but behind that it was nothing, never like that. But I joined MS because I saw MS as a brotherhood. The way I saw it is different how MS now is. I remember back in the days, the homeboys used to be like, if you live on this area, you should not rob this area. The people that live in this area, it's against our policy. You should not rob none of these people. They're off limits, right? And on top of that, it was like if a homie used to get locked up, I remember the homeboys used to come around and they used to come and check on your family. Like, hey, how's he doing? Is he okay? Telling, hey, we love it. Here's some money for him. Are you guys okay? You guys need something that will give some love too, as well as to the family, whether it was the wife, the sister, the mother, whatever. And they will make sure they will take care of her. At least the hood will always make sure, go check in on them to make sure they will always take care of. There was never the respect. There was never anything done to them that they felt. If the homie had a wife or a hyena that was known that that was his woman, nobody ever approached the woman trying to get at her, trying to be disrespectful to her, because those laws were there for a reason. Everybody respected those rules. Nowadays, MS have become nothing but a money-making machine for the Mexican mafia and for these grumpy-ass old men. And the thing is that we lost sight and body for what MS was, or the brotherhood that we had, or the carnalismo that we used to have. They lost sight of that. They lost faith in the whole system. We lost faith on the homeboys and on the program and on the system itself, for the simple fact that we didn't believe that they wanted the best for us. Like they wanted was the best for this old man, for these people that were manipulated, and for these people that wanted it, something accomplished and done their way. And once I start seeing homeboys selling out homeboys in the yard over political moves or political moves, homies getting smashed and letting rivals hit the homeboys in the yard, that's when they start opening me up to a whole different ball game. Because I remember before, it wasn't like that. Homeboys wouldn't allow homeboys to touch, like other cliques or other neighborhoods to touch homeboys. If a homeboys had something coming, that was our job. That was our duty to get it done ourselves. We were gonna do that cleanup. It wasn't up to 18. It wasn't up to other cliques to do that stuff. It was up to us to clean up our own mess. It will always have been up to us. It's always been that way. Ever since I remember in the county, in prison, reception, everything has always have been a courtesy to let their own clean up their own stuff. So when I start seeing homeboys selling out homeboys, giving them up to get whacked and almost getting killed, and the homeboys just sit there and do nothing, and then I start hearing other individuals like, damn, them fool just let that fool just get hit like that. Like, that's his own home. It bothered me. It became something that bothered me so much that I spoke up to it. And when I started speaking up against the things that I saw that I didn't like it, that's when the problems began between me and the barrio and the hood. That's when the issues start rising up. Aside from me not wanting to do their bidding so often, and aside from me not wanting to, for them demanding for me to give up a bigger cut to homeboys that had it coming, that I didn't agree to it. Like, I was doing my thing in prison and they wanted me to give so-and-so a bigger cut of my stuff that I risked to get in, just because he was an older homeboy when he was just doing nothing whatsoever to earn it. Because of that, I didn't like it, and I started speaking up. And since I started speaking up and I started doing their bidding, guess what? I was going against the grain. I was going against the barrio. I was going against the homeboys. So that in itself was a reason for me to get investigated. And that's when the investigation took place for the first time that I got hit in prison. And then with this said, man, I'm going to leave you guys with that cliffhanger right there. The reason why I got hit in prison the first time. Next video, I will tell you the reason. But I wanted to set up some way the cliffhanger so you guys can guess a little bit why did they decide to hit me and everything. But I want to give you guys a little bit of background on myself and how I come and start doing this. Hope you guys like it. I hope you guys share, and I hope you guys subscribe if you haven't to. Leave a comment. Let me know if you want to hear why I got hit the first time, man. That being said, you guys know, like I always tell you, be kind to one another. Tell your loved ones that you love them, because tomorrow is never a promise. Let's get it, mi gente.